This is the Anything Goes Project video stream. Please be patient, the show will begin momentarily. Remember, the show can be reached via email at stalkermailbox@gmail.com, or simply call in and leave us a voicemail at 361-433-5739. If you like the show, please subscribe and leave us a rating. This helps the show to be seen. More video streams can be found on the Anything Goes Project YouTube channel. To help the show, subscribe and like the channel. The Anything Goes Project can be found on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Castbox, Stitcher Radio, or anywhere you get your podcast media from. You're listening to the Anything Goes Project. Interesting topics, interesting things. Real stories by real people. Your host is Mike. The Anything Goes Project is a production of M&C Designs. Be advised, this show may not be suitable for all ages. Many of the topics are for mature audiences only. The explicit tag is there for a reason. If you would like to contact the show, email us at stalkermailbox@gmail.com, or leave us a message at 361-433-5739. And now, on with the show.
All right, we are recording. This is Mike with Anything Goes Project, and tonight we're just going to be shooting out another podcast. And that guy is Robbie Robertson.
Thank you. Thank you. Name's so nice, you say it twice.
Absolutely. That's why I've always should have gone by Mikey Mike.
Then you would have been like Mark Wahlberg, except...
Yeah, but it'd have been Mikey Mike and the Not So Funky Bunch.
Oh, God. The rounded out crew. This podcast, I guess, really doesn't have a specific thing. We're kind of just here just shooting the shit on our minds, I guess.
Shoot the shit. There's been a lot of bad shit happening right now, and I guess it's just a way for us to get on here and kind of vent with what's been going on. Like, good grief, we've had 2 mass shootings this weekend. 29, possibly more people, more than that. The numbers all the numbers haven't come in yet, dead from this. Possibly fueled by white supremacist ideologies. I mean, it's just getting
white supremacist ideologies. All right, you have to explain here.
Like racist ideologies. The El Paso one was the mass shooting was done in a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood by a white guy whose manifesto was racist to begin with, and he actually, I think they actually posted, somebody went onto his website and posted some pictures of where he got some of his racist ideas. And one of them was he's got a bunch of guns positioned into the position to look like Trump's name.
Oh, my goodness. He's got it all planned out. Now, you have some reference on this because your family was in the KKK, isn't this right?
Not my family, my stepdad's. I never actually got involved with it. I never went to anything. I hope not. This was his family. And
Grandmaster Wizard Mike Simons.
No, like Professor Dumbledore or something. That's about as close as I get.
Casting spells.
That's right.
I think it's just, I don't know. It's just a way of the media kind of bringing out a point.
Well, I know for this one guy in El Paso, he actually did post a manifesto. I don't know about the one that in Dayton, Ohio.
A planned attack?
Yeah, a manifesto of why he's doing it.
How long was he planning it?
That I don't know, because I think they've pretty much shut everything down. I think even his social media links, they were smart. They shut everything down. I was just reading some stats right now earlier, right before you came on, that let me read it to you real quick. It says, violence committed by white men inspired by an extremist ideology represents an increasing number of domestic terrorism cases, according to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Of roughly 850 current domestic terrorism cases, 40% involve racially motivated violent extremism, and a majority of these cases involve white supremacists. And this is from the FBI's. Was from the FBI today.
Do you think this is a problem with guns, or do you think this is just a problem like maybe somebody snapped that probably got
I
pushed
think
to the
this is a
point?
problem of hatred,
Why do you say hatred?
because right now we've got a lot of people in this country who just hate people who are different than them.
Do you
Now,
think
remember,
that's
I
just
live in the
because
South. I see this on a daily basis. The day, literally, I'll say this: the day, literally, that Trump got elected, the next day, I heard somebody out at the plant yelling at everybody who was Hispanic, "Y'all better pack your bags, because my president's going to send your asses back home." Well, guess what? Those two guys got fired that day.
Trump building that wall,
Yeah, that shit ain't going to
keeping
happen.
out them illegals that do the jobs we don't want to do because we think we're entitled?
Yeah, who's going to do those jobs now?
See, I think it's the whole idea that we don't like things that are different, man. You know, I mean, I experienced this. I'm a minority at where I work, dude. And let me tell you, I got an earful today, man. And there wasn't no point of it. I just think you look at it, and I could have easily snapped back. But at the same time, I was just like, you're really not comfortable in the life you have right now. You're obviously not where you wanted to be, but I'm not going to do that because I have a bigger plan in mind. I have a better fortunate thing. I am fortunate enough to be able to podcast with people now, especially you, and meet people like yourself. I mean, good God, you're wearing a Star Wars shirt, and it's like amazing. Yeah. It's like I enjoy that. Like I like to be able to communicate and find people not even of a restricted age group, like younger kids or older people. It's just being able to connect with someone on such a level where your thoughts are generally the same. What I've started realizing is everybody's thoughts are kind of around the same basis. I think a lot of it's just covered up. With my podcast, I do a type of like get your thoughts experience. It's a conversation. You can talk about aliens 1 minute, and I love seeing what people are interested in. But it usually also kind of hits off on the point, like, what do you think about the world we're in today? And we all have the same thinking of it. Like it's a corrupt place, and nobody's willing to take the time to get to know one another. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like we're all thinking it. So why are we still acting the same a little bit? And I mean, there's so many things to get interested in. I think that's what's happening today in the world. I think it's why people are really fascinated with history, because I mean, I get fascinated. Like you want to escape from this reality a little bit. I dive deep down into the rabbit holes of immortals, dude. Like the whole Greek gods, everything like that, Greek mythology. Hell, I just saw Clash of the Titans, and I was losing my shit. I mean, Zeus. I would love to have a
Which
Magic
version?
Thunderbolt,
Which version of Clash of the Titans?
the newer one. I don't know. I can't stand to watch the old one because I'm watching
Oh,
that
come
thing. I'm
on,
like,
man. The old
what
one's
is this?
a cult classic.
I'm a millennial. I'm old where it counts, where it comes to a little bit of wisdom. When it comes to movies, I still know when an explosion in Halle Berry is better than the old school Betty Ross, whatever you want to talk about.
Here's what I got to say to your millennial comment.
Oh, shit.
Did you just drop a freaking audio effect in this podcast?
Damn straight. I've got a soundboard.
Do you have a soundboard? What kind of sounds are on this soundboard?
Well, let's see. If you start ranting about something and we start getting esoteric or something like that, I can go.
Open your mind.
Do you have
And
a fart one on there?
I don't have that one, but I do have this one. This one's my favorite.
Say what again?
Then it's not a good soundboard.
Again. I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say what? One more
Double
goddamn
dare you.
time.
That's such a good movie too.
Yes, it was. It was actually the first time I watched it. I was like, "What the fuck just happened?"
Whatever happened to movies impacting you in such a way you thought about it for so long? Like we've all seen Interstellar. I guarantee to you, anybody that watches Interstellar for 2 weeks, you're pretty messed up. Like you're thinking about life in a whole different way. You think like when you go to sip a drink, are you killing millions of like organisms that are going inside your body, which you are technically doing. But it's like
I mean,
you start.
your body is a universe unto itself. Think of that. You're just a host to millions
Look,
of billions upon billions of microbes and bacteria. You are their
don't
universe.
you think that? But isn't that fascinating though? Like you start looking at anything that's so simple and then just really dive into the meaning of it, you can go deep into it. Like everything has like such an extended value to it, which really makes you question why we value people in such a shitty way.
Yeah. And like you said, we podcast because we truly, I guess you could say, some podcasters that are out there, like for instance us, we're empathetic towards humanity. We want to experience all the cultures, all the good things in life, and all the stuff that just makes humanity humanity. I want the variety. I want to see the culture. I want to see everything, and I want to talk to these people. Hell, I just had an awesome podcast, and I introduced her to you because I want you to have that experience as well. I mean, she's gonna
Yeah,
blow
she's
you
coming
away.
on tomorrow.
She's gonna blow you away.
She's
I'm not gonna say her name right
Do
now
you
because I haven't released her audio podcast yet. Her video version. Actually, I guess I
saving it.
can't say her name. Her name is Ramsha Essa. She is a Muslim Asian and Muslim Asian American. She was brought here when she was 7 years old. Wonderful woman, sweet, kind, just a beautiful individual to talk with. And she's about to release 3 books, and she's about your age, and she's in college right now. And it's just we got to delve on what it was like to be different in this country.
When I hear someone
Something
writes 3 books and they're my age, I get like in my head, I'm like, I'm doing nothing. I'm lazy. Like there are people writing books, there are people traveling to the moon, there are people doing these things, and I'm like, I went to the store today and bought an orange, and then I ate that orange later. I don't feel too good about it. I think it's the citrus, and I'm like, I'm just like having these inner monologues in my head, and I'm like, good God, like what am I doing? Like,
You're doing a
is this?
podcast.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, it's like, shit, maybe I need to throw some more irons in the fire. But see, some people take all that and then they're like, oh, I guess that's not me. I'm not going to be meant for that. It's true. You probably won't be the guy that goes into space. To be honest, I'm fine with what we're living on, to be 100% honest with you. I don't really feel like going and doing any types of space travel just because I don't know what's out there. And I am open to everything, but the unknown, no thank you. I mean, save those for the Texas people that want to get off this planet just so they can get away from these other colors.
All I got to do is tell them there's oil on Mars.
Yeah, dude. I got to bring my 30-pound belt buckle up into space.
There's oil on Mars. We're bringing freedom to Mars.
Don't you
America.
think it's weird that if you dress like a cowboy, don't you think you should own a horse and you shouldn't have a car? You should literally you travel by horse. If you're going to dress like a cowboy, you need to do that.
That's a big pet peeve. I know a lot of people that dress all cowboyed out, drive the big ass dually. What do you do for a living? I work at 7-Eleven.
Do you think they're doing it for attention though?
It's a fashion. It's literally it's a fashion thing. And yeah, I'm sorry, but I grew up working cattle. I know how to work cattle. I've ridden horses. I've worked fence lines and stuff like that. And guess what? None of our jeans had all this fucking bedazzled shit on it.
What cowboys wearing bedazzled jeans?
Oh shit! You just watch any. Oh, find CMT on.
I thought it was Blue Wranglers.
No, hell no. Go to CMT if you can on your cable. That's country music television.
I haven't watched cable in like 30 years.
Yeah, if you can find country music television, watch some of these music videos and all these people rednecks line dancing and everything. I'm talking about like the jeans that these kids are wearing now. They think they're kicker, what they call kickers and stuff like that. No, I'm sorry. Blue Wranglers, that's all you need for getting out. I don't even do that. I do cargo shorts. I was the redneck that I was the one that all the rednecks were laughing at because I'm on a horse with Nikes and cargo shorts.
Dude, I'm telling you, I got the horses in the back.
Freaking comfort. That's my thing. I don't like Wranglers. I refer to Wranglers as stranglers because when you put them on, you end up with it like this moose knuckle.
Good God. See, now, look, just because I just watched this movie, Clash of Titans, I'm, like, fascinated with where we kind of went wrong a little bit. And, like, why are we not, like, making wonderful masterpieces of art like the old statues of the Greek days? Like, that ancient history, their art seems so much more pure, with more creative. Yeah, it kind of shaped in a different form with how we kind of have today. But I'm like, if you look at it though, like there's some fascinating shit throughout Greek mythology, throughout Roman, whatever you want to call it. It's just throughout history, any country, like the innovations of something starting and becoming something like it is today. Like we still have fascinating places like the Roman Colosseum, dude. Like that thing looks like out of a movie. Like it's literally been in movies, but it literally looks like holy shit. Like they had the mind to create that back then. And we look back, like we haven't really progressed that much in intellect compared to what it was back in the days. They were just doing it in a different form.
Yeah. Well, and it has a lot to do with laziness, our lack of desire to advance. I mean, you think about this, and this is something that I've done a lot of research on. You think of the Dark Ages. How far along would we be right now if we hadn't have had to experience those Dark Ages, where religious ideologies were pushing down anything to do with science, philosophy, or anything like that? I mean, we would probably already have interstellar spacecraft because we lost almost how many years was that? Almost 1,000 years.
Wait a minute. So what's your prediction on where we're going to be at in the future 20 years from now?
20 years from now, that would be 2030. We will be prepping to get the first manned mission to Mars because they've already set a deadline of 2035 for that. Hopefully by then, Elon Musk will have perfected the Falcon X rockets because those are just totally badass. They can take off and land back on a barge. We haven't been able to do that, and now he's actually done it. Hopefully by then we'll have perfected space travel to that point where where we can get past low Earth orbit and start actually. I'm hoping we start mining asteroids because there are so many precious metals that are in asteroids. It could basically change the whole industry on batteries. I mean, you think about it. If we can eliminate the need just by getting some of these raw materials from asteroids that are not abundant here on Earth, but are abundant as hell in some of these asteroids, like palladium and stuff like that. Think of what we can do in just battery technology. We'll no longer have to be having landfills filled with freaking AAAs, AA's, or anything like that. And if we actually master that technology, which we already know we can get these raw materials from these asteroids, make batteries that one battery lasts 50 years. And boom, there we go. We cut down on waste and we cut down on environmental issues. That's just one aspect of, I'm hoping, where we're at in the next 20 years.
I think you're aiming more towards the light of, I guess, objectivity, like what would be more sustainable for our future. But I think more people are looking for an escape, trying to go out into colonization of the moon, like types of things that we've kind of been fascinated with, just getting off this rock. And I'm like, wouldn't
we need to? Honestly, I think we need to
find better ways to make more probably sustainable energy. I mean, if we start kind of taking care of what's going on, like maybe building wise, like have you ever heard of the Santa Claus gun?
No.
It's like called the Santa Claus machine, but it was like a machine, and it literally was the concept of Santa Claus, like his sack, like his giant bag of presents, that you could literally create anything by putting any raw material into this like weapon or machine, and it would just spew out whatever you wanted. So let's say I wanted a plasma screen TV, all I had to do is throw a rock in it, and bam, it just turns it into that. And they were talking about like this was a theory back in like 1965 that some scientist was trying to conceptualize this theory of creating a weapon or some type of device that could do this. And he said it would make buildings easier. You know, you wanted the materials for a building, but didn't want the process of creating it and doing all these things to it. And you would just start talking about putting in these certain amount of materials. Let's say if I just wanted to grab a little bit of dirt off the side over here, suck it up into this gun like a vacuum, and then shoot it out. And next thing you know, it builds a building. And that would annihilate the whole workforce industry, which brought up like the main cause throughout history has been technology is advancing to a point and a lot of people are not comfortable with it. I'm not
Yeah.
super comfortable with Alexa being able to control my toilet. But at the same time, it sparked the Luddite movement. I don't know if you know what the Luddites are, but during the Industrial Revolution, there were all these people breaking typewriters, machines, like
Mhm.
newspaper presses, all
Anything
these
that
types
had
of stuff.
technology involved to it.
Yeah, because they were losing their jobs. They already had to basically work in poor conditions. They weren't very wealthy. They were eating, freaking a piece of bread a week just to survive. And next thing you know, there's these machines that are taking them out of their jobs. So now they have no way of getting that one piece of bread for the week. Now I hear that and I'm reading into that and I'm like, I'm more than happy to conversate with the person at McDonald's that is already pissed off. And I'm just like, look, can I get a McFlurry or can I get an ice cream? And they're like, it's broken. I'm like, okay, well, what can we do to fix that? Because
That's next shift's problem.
yeah, because I can easily walk over to Wawa, order what I want through a machine and not have to deal with you. But I'm choosing to deal with you because I want to conversate. I want the personal interaction, which I've talked to business owners who are like, I will not put any machines in my business because you cannot rely on machines. I rely on people more than I do on machines. I'm like, but people make more mistakes than machines. And he's like, yes, but people are real. A real mistake over a computered one is better any day. And I'm like, I see what you're saying. And he goes, the way I choose to do it is you need human interaction in everyday life. And I don't think a lot of people get their meter filled because most people are pissed off all the time. I can tell you today, the rough day I had, I was berated to a point where I was just like, what's the fucking point of talking to anybody? I ended up putting headphones in. But at the same time, I'm just thinking in my head, like, this is just a phase that they're going through. Society, people, we're all in a phase. I think when we're worried about more things going on in other people's lives than our own, there's a problem there. I think when we put anger out on where we're at in our lives onto other people, there's a problem there too. I also start to realize that everyone doesn't think a lot like me. And that's what's awesome about life, because being able to talk, and my mind always falls on what society's doing or what people are doing, just because I think that more people are not chasing after what they want to do with their life. And there's so many things to get interested in too, whether it's ancient history, whether it's just technology going on nowadays.
Just
And like,
read a book.
yeah, just being able to unwind and do whatever you really want. I mean, the fact that like you can literally, like, I saw, this is going to sound so stupid, but a freaking butterfly flying across the road this morning. And then next thing I know, like, it's just slowly trotting along and his car speeding just goes right past it. And butterfly just misses getting hit. And I'm like, wow, that's just us floating through life. We're just barely not even realizing that something so big like that could intervene into our lives and then we're gone. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, wait a minute. I just took a really, really, really simple thing and turned it into a really, really, really good like experience for life that might have changed
You
my way of
basically
thinking.
just did a philosophical concept.
Yeah, I know. I felt religious and everything. I started getting the Holy Ghost in me. And then next thing I know, I'm just like, you know what? That would have went the completely other way if I would have saw that butterfly get squashed. I would have been like, that's life. You just live and you die. Like that butterfly didn't know what the hell was going on. Bam, left turn, you're freaking gone. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, maybe people need that, maybe, like, I've talked to people that are like, I had a religious experience where I know God is real. I'm like, yeah, because you've experienced it. And there's people that haven't experienced some type of miracle, some type of cure all, some type of thing, or a miraculous thing in life that brings them to a conclusion of that sort. And I don't know if everyone ever reaches to that point, but it's fascinating to think like someone's mind can change over something so simple, but means so much and impact them in such a way that you can shape your whole personality in a whole different light.
Yeah. And well, that's kind of what we do here. I mean,
What do you mean?
that's why we come on this show. That's why we do these shows. We bring people on because it may just be one little thing that one of our guests says that somebody else listens to that may change the whole dynamic of how they think of things. And that's why I do my show. I don't care if I have 1 million followers or not. I want to be able to reach one person, affect one life. even if that one life is me, I'm getting affected because I am truly affected by these people that I talk to. It changes my outlook and perspective on a lot of things because sometimes I may talk to somebody and like I said, it may be something that I was unfamiliar with. Well, hey, guess what? Educate me, teach me, show me what's going on, change my mind about something the way I'm thinking, which also goes into why I study a lot of science, a lot of philosophy, why I study paranormal, because I'm looking for answers that traditional guy standing at a pulpit preaching at you isn't giving me the answers, because half the time these guys are sitting there spouting off, and it's like, you realize I've studied all the Abrahamic religions for the past 20 years. And you are totally wrong in how you're even saying that. You even misquote it and everything. So it's like you can't believe everything that's just told to you. You have to be able to look at things and do the research yourself to find out what's going on, find out the truth. Just like the news media. Are you going to believe everything that Fox News tells you?
Probably, if they play a lot of flashy images and stuff, that's pretty
Okay.
on the
Most people
basis.
do.
My
But then-
attention span's kind of like a squirrel chasing after a nut. I'm kind of always looking for that next nut. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but most people stick to one source for everything in their lives. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that person that is stuck in that one rut. And this is the way things are. This is the way they have to be, the straight and narrow. Well, guess what? That straight and narrow, there's a lot of forks that go different directions that have new information.
Well, the freaking life is just a random bunch of twists and turns, dude. You're just on a freaking road in Pennsylvania driving, you know, and this is left, right, left, right, left,
Yeah,
right.
but
you
most
know?
people don't see life that way. They see
Wait.
life as, this is the way it is, this is the way it's going to be, this is the way it's been for me all my life. I'm not changing to please other people.
But do you think that's just because their creativity's been pushed to a point where they can't reach it? Or it's just locked? I like to think that it's like
Or I
they've
would
just
call
been
it
told.
indoctrination.
Okay. What do you mean by indoctrination?
Well, you think about it, religious indoctrination. They start as an infant.
Yeah, so they're influenced in a way to push down their creativity and never let it arise to the surface.
Yeah.
That's why it got really weird. I did a podcast with a religious guy, and I like his train of thoughts. I understand. I mean, I agreed on with a lot of what he was saying, but you know, his belief in God was from an experience, which I told him, like, you know, that works for some people, not for everyone. But then he believed in human adaptation, but then was rejecting evolution. And I was like, wait a minute. If humans adapt, that's evolving technically. So if you look at that, he goes, I just don't think we came from apes. And I was like, I can see. You don't believe in the ape theory?
If anybody ever comes to me and tells me I didn't come from no damn ape, you're absolutely right. We and apes share a common ancestor that wasn't fully ape, wasn't fully human.
Our predecessors came from probably the same genus species as apes. I mean, we obviously evolved. That's what I believe. I think that there was a common ancestor.
There was a common ancestor, but we
pre-hominids.
Yeah, you got your Australopithecus africanus. All these. That's the one that they dub as Lucy. We found 300 different species of that particular one. It wasn't just the one. Dude, I've got so many charts and graphs that can actually show you through the different lineage. And apes, we're actually closer related to bonobos than we are chimpanzees. And we share 98% DNA with chimpanzees.
Yeah, I find a fascination.
Here's the thing where it goes. They took a different branch than we did. We're still primates. We share a common ancestor. But what we today know as apes was not the same thing 450,000 years ago.
See, I think we evolved from the same species, which we're agreeing on here. But when I was listening to him talk, he was like, no, we come from Mars. I was like,
yeah.
What do you mean we come from Mars? He's like, we were created.
Panspermia.
Dude, I'm not even going to. I don't know. It was a little far-fetched for me. I told him straight up. He had an amazing story, an amazing experience. And his thoughts, like, they did kind of sway me in a way. But I'm listening, and I'm like, in my belief, I don't think we came from Mars. I think we came from here and we just adapted, which he wasn't open to. And I was like, but if you look anywhere in the world, there is human adaptation.
The model of panspermia is actually a very closely looked at model within the academics, because there's evidence, and we're seeing that already on Mars. There's evidence that there was possibly life on Mars. We found water. That's why I said we need to get human beings onto Mars to get a closer look. The robot can only do so much. A human can look at something and go, oh, wait a minute, that's not what the robot was thinking it was, that's this. And we can actually do the testing and change our minds based on the evidence, and which, if we changed our minds based on the evidence, we're going to have a whole new path to start researching and looking into, which is why I say that, because they've actually found rocks from Mars on Earth, which is why the panspermia model is kind of in a way relevant. Basically, microbes or organisms that were able to, what would be called extremophiles, were able to survive the vacuum of space. And we have extremophiles on our planet. We just found an organism a couple of years ago that is able to live in a pure arsenic environment. We've got all these organisms that live at the bottom of the Marianas Trench that live off of sulfur vents. We've also got the water bear. I don't know if you ever heard of the water bear.
No, I haven't.
It's a little micro. God damn it, I can't remember what its actual scientific name is. Which I guess I just drew a blank. But anyways, it's a microscopic organism that has like 6 little arms that look like little feet and legs, and this thing lives in water droplets. And it can literally, when that water droplet dries up, it goes into a hibernative state, and its whole body can dehydrate. And 200 years later, it can be tardigrade.
Are you talking about? Yeah, I'm about to say, are you talking about the tardigrade?
Tardigrades, yes, tardigrades. Those are extremophiles. So what if something like that was because we know at one point in Mars's history, it was bombarded by asteroids and space debris, much like Earth was in its early development 4.5 million years ago, not 6,000 years ago, guys. But anyways, it was bombarded.
I don't know what you're talking about. The Earth is only 6,000 years old.
Oh shit! I'm fixing to end this conversation.
The Earth is flat too. Did you know that? Or are you one of them circular Earth believers?
It is not flat. It's on the back of a tortoise, and we're still trying to figure out what sex.
Dude, that's a religion I would like to believe, that we're on the back of a tortoise right now. Are you kidding me? Floating through space? That is awesome.
Terry Pratchett, the Discworld series.
Let me tell you something. You hear that? I will believe that over some guy sitting on a golden throne. I would love to think we're all on the back of a giant turtle right now floating through space.
And that's got 4 elephants standing as a pillar holding the Earth on it.
Oh, my God, dude. Then you start to think, like, wait a minute. If that's us, we're on a giant turtle. Who's the shark out there? Who's the planet that's a shark? And they're on, like, its freaking fin. Like, you start thinking about that. Oh, it's going to dive me down deep into the rabbit hole I don't want to go down to.
Well, back to panspermia. So at one point in time in Mars's history, it was bombarded by asteroids, okay? And these asteroids flung space debris from Mars out, and a lot of it landed on Earth.
Oh, so you're saying we're coming from like a microbial like organism that got... That makes sense. I can believe
that's
that.
The panspermia
do I
model.
believe?
I bet that's what he's trying to. Bet that's what he's trying to equate. We came from Mars for. If he's now, on the other hand, if he's saying aliens from Mars came here and plopped down a few human beings, I'm going to have an issue with that one.
That's what I picked up.
Yeah, I think
the microbial thing makes
just
sense.
send him a message and ask him, were you talking about panspermia or actually an alien coming down here and dumping a load in a chimpanzee's ass?
But it was just so weird, because how do you believe that God's real and you believe in this giant figure if you think we came from Mars? Like, didn't God create humans? So you're saying we're coming from a microbial organism would be a little bit like...
evolution.
Yeah, but then it would be like you're technically proving yourself wrong about God then, if you believe in that, because then you're saying we come from microorganisms, and if apparently God created each of us individually, like formed us like from clay or something.
Well, we know for a fact there was no Adam and Eve. That particular mythos was borrowed from early Zoroastrianism and early Babylonian texts and Old Samaritan, and
Wait, there's no Adam and Eve, so I've been blaming the one person for eating the apple and just thinking humankind's assholes, but
Yeah,
that
I
was
hate
all
to tell
fake.
you this. That Apple myth is in
Is
bunch of myths.
Jesus Christ real? Or was he just like David Copperfield?
I don't know. That's what
Like,
I said. I don't know. I can't. These are questions that honestly I don't think can be answered. The
what
history
questions
doesn't show.
throughout history do you think you have? Like, what things would you want to go back and find the real details out? I could tell you, I'd want to find out about Leonardo da Vinci for one of them. I want to find out if he is as smart as people say he was, even though back in the day they called him a loon. I also want to talk to Nikola Tesla, understand why he married a pigeon.
And
I,
and also to warn him, hey, dude, Edison's going to steal all your shit, so let's get this patent now.
and I want to know why Benjamin Franklin has a bunch of skeletons in his basement.
Yeah, well, these are questions. I mean,
Even though the skeleton one was kind of
the only
already
problem with that is
given evidence, but
only
I
problem
like to
with
think he's a
that is
freak.
I don't think we can go backwards in time because I think I've seen a lot of, but where you can't warp space enough to actually get backwards, but you can go forward because time is continuously moving forward.
So
Oh,
it's like
now
the
we're going into
Futurama. It's like the Futurama episode where their time machine only went forward, so they had to go forward until the end of the Earth, and then it got recreated again in a second Big Bang, and then they had to go back to where they were to get, and then they kept passing it over and over again.
yeah.
Let me shoot Hitler out the window, and he misses and hits JFK or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, time paradoxes. That's actually something that has always fascinated with me, being a fiction writer. And a lot of times, I don't know if you've seen them on Facebook. These people are like, if you could go back in time and tell your old self something, what would you tell them? And I always answer, absolutely nothing. And they're, why not? Because if I do that, I'm gonna create a paradox, and then the reality I'm in now will no longer exist.
I'd go back and tell myself to toast up a Pop-Tart because I didn't do that until recently, and I'm 21, so it's like I lived a life without an experience of true happiness.
Of cold ass Pop Tarts.
I just thought that's how you ate. I saw people do it, but I didn't think it was tasty. And it seemed like a task and a half. I was like, isn't the point of a Pop-Tart to open it up and just enjoy it? Not really, you know, take 10 minutes to make your – I mean, who honestly sits down and preps their food for like 4 hours? And I can't really say that now because I just realized my parents did that.
Yeah, I do.
I don't do that, dude. I'm
I'll
in and
spend
out,
I'll
man.
spend 3-4 hours prepping sushi
Why?
because it's fucking good.
Go to the gas station. It's the same shit.
Who the hell eats gas station sushi?
Me? I love
Do you-
gas station sushi. I don't
do
care if
you
I'm in the
want
bathroom 5
salmonella?
minutes later. I don't care, dude. I freaking – dude, let me tell you. They had that salmonella poisoning thing with the honey smacks. Now, I'm a very conservative person when it comes to my money. I save everything, okay? Everything goes straight in the bank account. $5 on a T-shirt, that's too damn much, all right? I have to pain myself to even doing that. Now, let me tell you something. I bought a box of honey smacks from the store when the salmonella poisoning thing was going out. I did not know. You know how much the box was?
Like $2.97.
No, honey smacks is like $4, dude. That's the
Well,
one.
I buy the bags.
That's you buy the Golden Puffs shit. I'm talking honey smacks with Diggum on the front. I would build a gold statue for Diggum like they did in that Family Guy episode if I could. I'd have him in my backyard. Okay. Now let me tell you something. I get religious when it comes to honey smacks. Now listen, I bought this box. Started eating it. Was not feeling too good. Started getting sick. Really, really bad. I started realizing, I looked on my phone. Salmonella poisoning. They took all the honey smacks off the shelves. I let my mom know about it. She said, throw your box out. I said, I spent $5 on this box of cereal. I'm eating it to the last bite. And she goes, you're going to hurt yourself. I'm like, if I'm dying by honey smacks, I'm dying by honey smacks. That's the dream. That's the dream. There's no what you want to do with your life. You want to die by fucking cereal. Cornflakes.
If I spent $5, I'm all in. We're eating this shit.
It's the whole idea. Like, I don't like wasting money. You know, one of my podcasts, my buddy, like 10 minutes before he's drinking coffee. He pours it up to like the very tippy top to where it's about to overflow. And I'm like, oh, he's going to sip it before he starts going around and doing shit. He puts ice cubes in it. the water level rises in it and starts spilling everywhere. So what does he do? I'm trying to make food in the kitchen. He goes, grabs one paper towel, just one, rips it, comes over, wipes up the spill, gets back up, walks all the way over across the kitchen in my way again while I'm trying to get in the middle of cooking my food, eat a quick snack, and then get the podcasting, throws it away, goes back, sits down, goes to sip it again, it spills again, sets the cup down, goes back over, does this about 8 or 9 times, one sheet every single time. I was like, why don't you just drink it till it doesn't spill anymore and then wipe it up? He's like, no, it's not right. We go upstairs. I'm like, we're podcasting about this real quick. I started asking him all these questions. And I'm like, so what's the point? He goes, any coffee that does not stay in the coffee cup is known as bitch coffee. I don't want that coffee. I want the good stuff that stays in the cup. I go, I spill it till it gets to an appropriate level. And I'm like, you're just getting in my way, though. And I'm like, I bet you're a lid man, aren't you? And he just goes, oh, I fucking hate lids. And I died laughing. It's one of those moments where you're like trying to understand someone's train of thought like a child that's trying to tell a story. And you're just sitting there like, get to the freaking point. And you're just like, he's like, but then I saw Aunt Susie at the park, and you're literally at this point, you're like, oh my God, I swear, yeah, that's interesting, because they don't know how to talk yet, and it's like you're just sitting there trying to form your own opinions, and I think that's my idea of the world. We're all just sitting here like little kids trying to tell their own little story, but they can't spit out the words to create the piece.
And that just goes to show you that we are a country of abundance, that we just want to let shit spill out on the counter because
yeah.
And
I don't want a lid. I don't want this comfortability factor on my cup, knowing that I'm not going to spill hot ass coffee all over me.
I've got a metal straw.
Yeah, you're sipping it very pretentiously too. You make me feel like a douche. And then you do the God.
Yeah, that's right. I got my cap on backwards too.
Tattoos and piercings. Now listen, what's your problem with, like, would you have any things in the world today besides like just invention wise or just things that people do that kind of really piss you off a little bit?
Saggy pants.
Why saggy pants?
Because if you walk into a store and your pants are actually buckled around your ankles, they're no longer pants. Those are socks.
If you're showing your like, my cousin got in trouble for this with my grandma. We're walking in Hawaii having a family vacation, and he had his boxers and his pants hanging below his dick root. And my grandmom said something, and that's when he realized he might need to start wearing, because he's just pulling his pants up while we're walking. Dude, we hiked 6 miles in Hawaii, just me and him walking the streets. And the whole time he's holding up his pants like way below where his like nuts should hang, just holding it with one hand, just like trying to hold his pants up. I'm like, you knew we were going, like, traveling. Why didn't you wear something comfortable? He's like, I am comfortable, brother. And I'm like, well, he's Brazilian, but he was raised in Hawaii, so they speak Pidgin, which is like Ebonics, basically. Their words are all cut. It took me the longest time to understand him. And he was like, I was like, are you hungry, dude? You want to go get a bite or something? He's like, I'm full on aloha, thank you. I'm like,
say what?
Yeah. What? Are you fucking hungry? You want a pizza or something? He goes, I am full on aloha, thank you. And I'm like, what does that mean? He goes, I'm full of love, man. I don't want food. I'm like, talk to me like I'm like a normal kid your age, not some pigeon running around with his head cut off. Like, it interests me, because then you start seeing like what he's interested in, and you see like he's from the same genetics as me, but he's completely different just based on where he grew up.
Yeah.
Like, he grew up in Hawaii and grew up in like California, all these types of coastal beach areas. I grew up on the complete opposite, basically the knockoff of California, Ocean City, Maryland. Like, it's a beach town, but it's like got the imposter beach vibe. Like, you can tell when there's like a bunch of people, you know, it's all, everyone looks kind of the same. We all rock the surfer type attire, but it's mostly like blonde haired people, long hair, you know, never wears a shirt anywhere, flip flops, tattoos, and board shorts everywhere. Like, I'm going through the
problem with the flip flops, tattoos, board shorts, piercings, and anything like that. It's, if my problem is when you're going out into public and you got your ass hanging out and your pants are literally buckled either around your knees or your ankles, those are no longer pants to me. And I had a kid that started working with us, and day one, he comes in and he's doing that strut, holding his pants up, and I went, hey, you know what? I said, you're fixing to start working in this type of environment here. You got things that you have to be doing, which require both your hands.
Yeah, you
And
can't
he
be
just
holding
kind of
your
looked
pants
at
up.
me. And I said, you can't hold your pants up all day. I handed him a piece of rope and I said, pull your pants up, put this rope in, tie it. Tomorrow buy a belt. And then our supervisor walked by and he goes, and if you come in here tomorrow with your pants hanging down, you're fired.
Mm.
He
You
says,
see, as a safety issue.
he said, we don't have time for that childish bullshit. We're here to do a job.
Yeah, well, that's actually pretty common. If you ever work in a machine factory, like they tell you can't have long hair, you can't have these types of things. So you get stuck in the machine, next thing you know, you're gone. One of my favorite like stories, monkey's paw.
Yeah, that is a good story.
Like where the wishes and stuff and they all go bad. It's like, what would you, if I had to ask you, Mike, what would you wish for in the world to change anything in your life, I guess, not in the world, just in your life? It could be the world. You can do it that too. You can do the selfish aspect of it. What would 3 wishes you would have be? Number 1.
Health, happiness, and longevity.
Okay, you got 3 wishes, so that would be all 3 of your wishes.
Yeah.
Well, what's your first one though? Explain
Health.
the first one. Explain it.
If you're healthy.
Okay. Well, what's healthy?
Not having
Physically or emotionally?
both, just healthy. Because if you're healthy, you think about it, life tends to be a little better. And now, if you're overweight, diabetic, got crappy joints, and mentally all jacked up and everything, that's to me it's hindering what your potential could be. And then the second one, happiness. Well, obviously, if I'm going to be happy or healthy, it helps with your happiness factor. Because how many people do you know that are unhealthy that are miserable?
I guess it works in both strides because I see people that are unhealthy and happy, and I also see people that are unhealthy and miserable. But I think if you
longevity.
Okay, what do you mean by longevity?
Oh, I want to be immortal.
What? Okay, all right, hang on. I actually podcast about this. My cousins are all about being immortal. What do you mean by immortal? I know you mean live forever, but what exactly? How would you want that process to be completed? Would you want machine implantation?
I'll take either or, because I've already told my wife flat out, if they come up with a neural link where I can upload my brain to an AI system and I'm dying, fucking upload my ass. Let's go.
Fucking pull the plug. Let me go.
Upload my ass.
I don't want to do that, dude. I don't want to upload shit,
dude,
man.
Upload.
My thoughts aren't that important to be put into a machine to keep on
hell
going.
with my thoughts. Just think of everything that you can learn and discover.
Sometimes discovery is bad, man.
Okay, you're uploaded them. Just think of the hours of Pornhub you can go to.
That's the problem. That's why I don't want to do it. I know I'll become one of those dark machines, like the ones that like you go turn it on, and it's just a fucking asshole when it answers you. Like the ones that talk back, you're like, computer's turning on. You're like, all right, sweet. Go, all right, let's go to the internet. And then Ed just type in like, did you wish to access the internet? And it's like, yes, I wish to go onto the internet. And it goes, what would you like to look up? Be like, I want to do this research paper. Fuck that, bro. We're going straight to Pornhub, dude. You got a good night ahead of you. That would be me if I was a computer, man. I'd be fucking with people so hard. I don't even mean to do it in a jerk way. I'm just like, look, I know what you really want.
Did you watch the movie Transcendence?
Yes, and that's what scares me is because I know there's going to be people out there. As soon as I upload myself, I'm going to be the one case where someone's like a terroristic attack and unplugs me from the world.
Yeah, but that movie made me think about it. It's like, really, if I don't need this body anymore, and I could just be my mind. Because I'm all about learning things. I love to learn new things.
But with Transcendence, it really wasn't him. They just uploaded like pieces of his consciousness.
Now we're getting into a real question. If they upload your mind to a computer, is it really you? Or is it just an echo of
It's
you.
a copy of you. It's
Hmm.
just it's just based on a algorithm of what your personality and stuff was like. It's the same reason why if they were gonna create an artificial AI in honor of you or whatever, it's
Yeah.
technically
Now here's the next question.
not a
See, since
clone.
we're talking
It's
about
a, I guess. Well, see that leads to the whole factor. Like my there's different types of immortality, and history has been obsessed with it. You know, the fountain of youth. The process of dying has been a scary one because no one really wants to know what happens when they're met at the end of their days. Everyone wants to live forever to do as much as they possibly can. It's very, very selfish. Now, I talked to my cousin about this because the anti-aging movement, all these people that are creating technologies and against aging, they think that like even everyone is against aging. Everyone is. We take supplements. There's a whole brand and like companies that sponsor off this hair growth. You know, you're losing your hair. Well, try Bob's Teal Wax. You
on.
can put it right on your head. Next thing you know, you got a lush bead of Rogaine.
Yeah,
Now
screw that. My hair is gone. I told my wife, I said, nah, it gets to a certain point. I'm just going to shave it all, which I usually do anyways. But then she's like, I kind of like you with a little bit of hair. So that's the only reason I got hair right now is because she kind of likes it. Gray hair in my beard. You know, I earned every one of these, keeping them. I'm old.
yeah.
I'm fat. Or, no, I'm not necessarily fat. I'm plumper than I used to be. Hey, you know what? I'm rocking that shit. That's me.
See, I think it's the whole idea. We don't want to die because we're never truly fulfilled in our own lives. And I was
And
talking to my cousin about this, and we're sitting there, and he's all for pro living on forever. And all my basically everyone I know is I'm not, just because the whole concept of I don't think if we were truly meant to live forever, then I don't know. It's hard to justify that because there's so many things when it comes to immortality, whether you want to be technology, advanced immortality with implementations. How far
or
does
do
it
you want
go
it to be
until,
Highlander style?
yeah, but how far until it's really you? Then I conceptualize it with the movie The Last Witch Hunter with Vin Diesel, where he's sitting on the park bench talking to Elijah Wood, and he's like, "What's it like to be immortal?" He goes, "It gets old." He goes, "What do you mean it gets old? You don't age." He goes, I've seen loved ones, I've gotten close to people, and they keep dying and dying and dying and dying. You can never get close to anybody. I've seen what this town was built from. This city you see is luscious and beautiful. I know the true history of it. It's built on broken lies and blood and bodies. And he started giving all these things like, did you know right here is a grave site where there's like 1,000 corpses under right where we're standing? And the guy's like, what? And he's like, yeah, I've seen it all. I've seen this place used to be a war zone turn into this thing that we see as marvelous and beautiful. It's now nature park or whatever the hell you want to call it. I see that. I'm like, the same thing with Dracula. He lived forever. And at the end of his days, when he finally was like killed, he was just like, this is what I want because I've already seen everything.
Hmm.
Now, if I had to give you the option to be immortal, would you take it?
I think I would still.
Even though you would watch your loved ones die around you. You'd have no way to stop that. The technology wouldn't be here to save the loved ones you have now. You'd just be creating new relationships. Everyone you got close to would pass on. You'd still want to be immortal. How long, dude? You would keep that mindset for maybe a couple thousand years, but after a while, you're going to sit there like, fuck. Everything I'm trying to do, the best thing you do is be a giant Elon Musk type throughout history, be able to do all these things. But at the same time, that's the whole idea of, is it happiness is the best in life or wealth? Because when you think of an immortality angle, the best thing you're going to do with that immortality is wealth. You're going to create immense amount of wealth. I can relate this to a younger kids movie, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The one dude, Mr. Winterhold, his whole thing at the end, after he brought his brothers back, he wanted to die. He was immortal. He watched everything. He became the biggest, scariest CEO, this giant business guy. And at the ending, he was happy when he died because wealth is not happiness. It just gets you what you want. And what you want, you think is your happiness. That's not truly what you are. That's why monks don't hold on to possessions. They are truly happy. They have reached enlightenment. They
Yeah.
have reached inner peace. Why can't people see that before? And why does the world have to focus so much on profitability? I don't like that. I think
Yeah.
that's where we went wrong. When we started
Or
holding more value towards money than we do about humans, there's a problem there.
And yeah, you just gave some really crappy scenarios. These guys are just because they got to see everybody die, their friends, their families. And the only thing they had was wealth. But then you can also look at another science fiction aspect of it. Captain Jack from the Doctor Who series and Torchwood series. At one point he hated his immortality, but at another point in it, he embraced his immortality because of everything he got to experience. He got to experience these lifetimes. He got to see everything progress. I mean, if we could do immortality, I mean, not necessarily immortality. Let's make life the longevity of life, couple hundred years. That would give us a chance to experience more in life than what we're currently able to do.
But if you right now got immortality and you saw the world a couple hundred years from now, you lived a couple hundred years, I don't think you'd be happy with what we've accomplished.
Then that would be a choice I'd have to live with.
But that would be a choice to make you.
In the current state I'm in right now, I think I would do it.
So you have a better aspect of what we're going to be accomplishing in the future rather than what we're going to be doing.
I think with correct guidance.
But that proper guidance hasn't been influenced in society yet.
No, hasn't been influenced. And
it might not be influenced for another 100 years. Who's to say no one's going to be able to really, your podcast isn't going to get, I'm not saying it is, but I'm saying your podcast might not get popular until thousands of years from now when a generation discovers it.
But here's the thing though. What's to say that in 200 years, that influence that's going to guide humanity right towards the right thing isn't the immortal?
I think the immortal thing is being able to be a factor in, I guess, immortality is only on the basic of concept of how long humans are going to be around.
Yeah.
So really, you're only immortal throughout history.
Think about it. 95% of the life on this planet is gone extinct.
Well, technically, you're already immortal, though, because you already created a podcast that's going to live on as long as humankind lives on, and technology keeps expanding. But technically, your voice is out there. Someone could
I've written books.
Yeah, someone can just take bits and pieces of all that and put it into one thing and create a genetic copy of you, and you just live on forever. The whole idea, like the one kid.
I'll leave them some DNA in a sock.
Just don't wash that one missing sock that gets out of the laundry.
That's where your missing socks are going.
Yeah, someone's storing it in your facility. Yeah, dude, you can sell your freaking sperm and get so much money off of it. I would do that, but then I'd be afraid there'd be too many like half me's out there. Like I'd have too many kids. You ever seen Delivery Man? The one dude that had kept donating his sperm all these years to get a bunch of money, and the next thing you know, he finds out he has 300 something kids he doesn't know about.
There was
what?
There was a movie very similar to that back in the 80s. It had Burt Reynolds in it, and it was the same concept.
Dude, you could tell. You'd be looking at him like, that dude's Burt Reynolds' kid. He goes, how do you know? He goes, look at that mustache. That is a fucking handsome kid.
It's either Burt Reynolds' kid or Tom Selleck's.
Yeah, exactly. There's only two people. You got to narrow it down. It's the same thing with Woody Harrelson. His kid. You ever seen that?
No.
How he said it's Frank Sinatra's kid or something, the whole mix-up. There's this girl that's like, no, it's 100% this guy's kid, and it's Frank Sinatra's kid. It looks exactly like Frank Sinatra in his 20s. Like, it's identifiably correct evidence that that's Frank Sinatra's kid. You have to look this up because you see that, you're like, that's 100%. You're like, no, it's the other guy's kid. He goes, no, there's not even a question. There's not even take the DNA test. Get on the Jerry Springer show. I'm telling you, 100% Frank Sinatra is the father.
Yep.
And you hear that, I'm like, technically, aren't you living forever by passing on your genetics? That's why we're fascinated with immortality.
Yeah, I mean, technically you are. You're passing on your genetics. So,
do you think it's selfish that some people don't want to pass on their kids or pass on themselves?
I don't, because especially with the way we're suffering, our world is suffering right now from overpopulation. There are going to be, I think I read a statistic here recently that showed in the next 20 years, there's going to be more people living that have ever died on this planet.
If you really think about it, that boosters the fact for the religious cult, the Church of Euthanasia, the people that believe you should kill yourself.
I listened to a whole podcast on that cult. That was weird.
I podcast on that cult, dude. They have a good way of thinking. I looked on their website. I actually signed up for it. It's like you don't have to kill yourself if you're a member, but it's like they're not even saying you have to kill yourself. They're just like, hey, why don't you? And it's like you got to question yourself, like, yeah, why don't I? But no, you look into it and it's like we don't want people to go around killing themselves. We just think that the world will be better without humans on it. I'm like, yeah, but then you got to think in the fact, like, what are you talking about? Like global disasters? Or are you talking about like the cause of rising climate change and all this type of stuff is linked to
Okay,
human
let's
factors?
look at euthanasia to begin with. What are your viewpoints? Since we're going there, what are your viewpoints on somebody having the right to terminate their own life?
I think if you want to, if it's your choice, then you should be able to do whatever the hell you want with your own life. I
Mhm.
don't think anybody should have control of it. I think it also can
What
kind of go
about
in the
in the
same line
case
as
of somebody?
abortion.
What about in the case of somebody who is young still and maybe suffering from like depression or anxiety or something like that, and there is help that they can get that will,
I definitely think they should probably take a second look at their life rather before choosing euthanasia. But I think in
because
the
we just
concept,
had that happen. A 17-year-old girl chose to end her life, and the courts legally let her.
it doesn't matter if you're doing it legally or not. If a kid's choosing to end his life, he's going to end his life. If a
Yeah,
guy's choosing to
I'm
end his
talking about the legality of it. The courts allowing that, like, so okay, like if I got terminal cancer, if I've got the choice to fuck off or I have to live 10, 5, even 1 year in agonizing pain, dude, I'm all for, hey, you know what, guys, look, I'm going to call a family meeting, everybody here, hey, great, this is our last get together because I'm checking out because I'm not doing this pain anymore.
I think if you're going through the court process of trying to kill yourself, you've kind of already proven the fact that you're not wanting to kill yourself. You're wanting someone to stop you. Because if you're
Yeah,
going to kill yourself, like, just do it. That's why they say it's like people that deal with depression and suicide. I'm not saying people could kill themselves. I'm just saying people that deal with suicide and depression, it's statistically seen that more people that say that they're going to kill themselves and start telling people are the ones that aren't going to kill themselves because they're looking for attention.
yeah. Well, and
The
there are a lot of
people you
people
want to
that
worry about are the ones that truly.
I'm talking about, like what I'm talking about, like your people that are terminally ill. They're under somebody's care at this point. It's would be difficult for them to do that because somebody is watching over them constantly. They're not going to let them OD. They're not going to let them do something like that. And it's like, hey, you know what? Just give me the pill. I'm done.
Yeah, well, I think that'd be a choice that's optional. And
And Sweden actually just recently made a machine that you can get in if you decide you're wanting to end it. You get in, doors close. You've got 30 seconds to change your mind. There's a button on the inside.
so you're saying it should be like Futurama, where we have suicide telephone booths.
I didn't even think
Which
of
option would you like to die by today? Knife wound, gunshot, robbing? What's robbing? I like to have a scenario that I'm in where I'm going to die. That'd be pretty cool. Like it puts you in a simulation of like a burning
Yeah.
building and you have to try and save the kids. Because then that gives you a better choice of an option of a death. Would you want to die in a heroic way? Or if you beat the simulation and you look like a hero and it just bolsters your confidence to not want to kill yourself later.
Yeah.
That's what it should be. Euthanasia legally should be a simulation machine. It gives you, all right, you want to die, right? Yeah, I want to kill myself. I don't want to live here anymore. Okay, then I'm going to put you in a scenario where you get to choose to be the hero or die. What do you mean? It's like Saw a little bit, except not so freaky deaky, and you don't have to cut your fucking leg off to get out of the thing. What you have to do is you have to save all these kids in this burning building. And if you save some of them, good. If you don't save all of them and you die, then you die. And that's the way you chose to go out, fighting like a hero. That I would be down for.
all
If
VR
people,
simulation.
yeah. And then, it's you actually
Okay.
simulate it.
Now we were talking about technology and immortality and stuff like that, but that got me to thinking about something else. I know you're all for technology advancing humanity.
What? I am not at all. I would
Okay.
go a Mormon lifestyle. Frick.
Mormon, you mean-
Alexa, controlling my toilet.
Okay, so
Hell no.
would you use a teleporter?
Depends. Is it the Star Trek teleporter?
Star Trek teleporter that can teleport you from your office to mine to podcast.
No, because the teleporter kills you and then resimulates a clone of you.
There you go. That's a question I've had a lot of people ask. I've asked before. Oh, hell yeah. If I have a chance to go over here, and it's like, yeah, but am I really actually talking to you? And they were like, what? I said, you think
See,
about it, what a teleporter does. It actually disintegrates your body down to the atom and
I,
then rebuilds you way over here.
I
So is
see.
it really you? Because technically you're dead at the point of teleportation.
Yeah, that's what the problem with Star Trek. That's why I'm a Star Wars fan.
Or Star Wars,
What about the
or
movie
Stargate.
Looper though? What about the
What?
movie? What about the movie Looper or not Looper?
Jumper.
The Jumper one. Yeah, that would be cool. I'd be like to be able to do that. He doesn't
Oh,
seem
I
like
would
he
love to
dies.
do that because
I'd love to be able to
the books were
jump from
better.
here. I just saw the movie. I never saw the books. I can't. I can read pretty well, but I don't like it. It's too tasking.
There's 3 books in the series, and they're actually pretty good. In the 3rd book, it come to find out it's his fiance or his wife actually gets the power too,
But
because she's jumped so many times with him.
yeah,
It triggers something in her brain to where she actually can do the jumping.
if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Oh shit!
It's a good one. That's a good question.
I think it would be the teleportation, the jumping.
Giving myself a pat on the back for that one.
I think it would
The
be
teleportation. Why?
the jumper scenario.
You, okay, all right, we're gonna play like a would you rather style type. So if you could teleport anywhere, like the movie Jumper, but you had to wait like a year to do it again. So you could teleport to Egypt, but you'd be stuck there. You have to travel back the normal way. You can only teleport there. You can't teleport back.
Well, see, I wouldn't teleport to Egypt. I would teleport to Greece, Italy, and work my way over to Egypt over that year.
Okay. Well, what happens if I told you, all right, so you want to teleport to Greece? Okay. How about the Greece not right now? It's the Greece way back in the day. Oh, or it's Greece in the future where they're experiencing a war. Oh shit! See,
Yeah, but see,
this
you
is
just
what I'm talking about.
you're doing what's called moving the goalpost parameters.
It doesn't matter because that's what a fortune cookie does. You eat a fortune cookie, it's a bland ass cookie, but you want the secret inside.
Yeah, but that
You want
wasn't
to
how
get
you set
out
the
of that
original parameters. You
exterior.
just asked what superpower would you want.
Do you think a genie is going to do that to you? It's just like the monkey's paw, bro. They didn't
Yeah,
know what they were getting into. I want my brother back. And next thing you know, bam, your brother's a zombie at your doorstep and you want him to go back to the hole that he crawled out of.
I'm prepared for that. I've got all my Walking Dead shit behind me.
Do you think zombies? All right, I actually talked to a person from the CDC from this.
Zombies are
Now,
real.
this was not a podcast thing. They just called me on the phone and they do that survey shit I hate, that they call me at the worst inappropriate times. Like, hi. I'm like, hello. They're like, how are you doing today? I'm like, I'm doing okay. What's going on? Do you have a quick minute to take a survey? Not really. I'm taking a shit. But if you come back in 10 minutes, and I just don't pick up the phone. But I was talking to this woman. I was like, hello. And she goes, hi. And I was like, stop calling me, you stupid machine. And she was like, I'm not a machine. I'm like, oh my God, you're a real person. I was like, how's it going? She's like, do you have a minute to answer a few questions? We're doing a survey on statistical amount of people that are injured in the brain, part of the CDC. And I was like, wait, do you work for the CDC? She goes, I work on behalf of them doing a survey analytic thing. And this was a couple months ago. And I was like, can I ask you one question? Then I'll answer any questions you have. And she goes, sure, go ahead and ask it. I said, is it true the CDC has a thing in their training program where it focuses on how to deal with the Walking Dead? And she goes, I am not really obliged or able to give you that confidential information. And I said, thank you. And I hung up because she just told me they work with experiencing zombies. Now,
Yeah.
whether they do or not,
Well,
my
did
answer
you
from
read
her
the experiment
bolstered my
that
fact.
happened recently where they actually were able to reanimate a pig's brain that had been dead?
We've done that throughout history, though. It's the whole
Yeah.
concept of Frankenstein. That was a
Yeah.
real thing. They were experiencing using now it wasn't
No,
as
they
basic
actually
as
got the brain
Frankenstein
functioning
did, but
again. Functioning
yeah.
again. The neurons were firing. It was experiencing.
But they're just sending electrical
Now,
impulses, though. I don't
but
think
here's my
they
question:
made
what do you
it
think
made.
about the zombies? Are zombies real?
I don't know. See, I always
What
wanted
about the
a zo-
fungus?
I always wanted a zombie apocalypse to happen, but then I had a really realistic dream, and I was like, that would fucking suck.
Because I'd
Like,
be the first to
imagine
go.
that. Yeah, you know how hard it would be to survive in the zombie apocalypse? There ain't no Walking Dead shit where people don't take showers and they're still having sex. Like, take a freaking shower. You can't tell me all those smells and all that makes it seem beautiful. Like, no, 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 no. Like, I don't like it. How, like, I don't know. Like, it's just weird. You'd have to think, like, you know how freaking on your toes you would be all the time? Like,
Yeah,
we're already
especially if
on
you
our
were in a
toes.
populated area and it happened.
Oh, God, Atlanta. The Walking
Or,
Dead, that show can only go so far. Like,
let me
now, I stopped
see.
watching it like season 4.
Victoria, Texas. Because in my books that I wrote, that's where Patient Zero happened.
What, did Patient Zero have AIDS?
No, Patient Zero was the one who actually started the plague. I wrote 6 books and they were all on like zombie stuff.
Why don't you ship me one of your books so I can read it?
I'll have to see if I can find the original document again. It's all uploaded to Amazon.
It'll probably take 5 years for me to finish one of your books, but I will read it.
Well, here's the neat thing. I
If you
compiled
do it
all
in a
of
comic book style, I'll read it.
You're talking to the comic book version.
I like the comic book, dude. I love it. It's interesting, dude. I like being able to like shoot the shit on stuff because you think you thinking about immortality, and I'm thinking about immortality. I'm like, we grew up in two
Okay,
completely
well, let's go
different
back to that
lifestyles.
question about that I asked, where somebody asked me a question. If you could go back in time and tell yourself, your younger self, something, anything, would you do it? And I said no. And my answer to it, the reason why and let me elaborate more on my answer, because I know I said my answer was that no, I wouldn't, because it would probably create a paradox to where I wouldn't exist now. And that is absolutely correct. And that is why I chose not to, because you think about it. If you go back and alter any aspect of your childhood,
It shapes who
anything,
you are today.
it will change who you are today.
Yeah,
The
well,
question is,
that's
do you
the
want
best
to
part.
change who you are today? And people be like, well, yeah, there's a lot of things I would like to be richer. Okay, well, great. What if you go back and you tell yourself, your younger self, to invest in Microsoft the day it goes public on Wall Street? And you do. Well, you're going to be a millionaire. But hey, guess what? Now you're on your way to the bank to cash that first check up from your dividends you just got from the Microsoft thing, and bam, you get hit by a damn car because you were in a place where you weren't supposed to be.
The butterfly effect.
Yes.
You're
And they
tempting
were
the
like,
hands of
oh,
fate.
wow. And every scenario that they threw out there, I was like, you think about it, everything in your life made you who you are now. Yes, would I like to go back in time and prevent a bunch of priests from diddling a bunch of kids? Absolutely.
But who's to say those kids wouldn't have been the next Hitler? That's the whole idea behind the Titanic. There was a movie or a show basis where they went back and stopped the people from dying on the Titanic, and all those people that were born that shouldn't have been born ended up doing really, really bad to society's views or standards how we have today. Surely reshaped everything. People like there were more assassinations.
Yeah,
Just the whole world went to crap.
or the scenario where they said, would you go back in time and assassinate Hitler as an infant in his bed? Well, okay, I saw a series that was similar to that too, and they didn't do it because they had a way to go forward and backwards, so they were able to actually look at what the ramifications of whatever it was that they did is going to happen into the future. And so, like, the one guy went back, killed Hitler, went to the future to see what happened. Oh shit, come to find out somebody even worse came up because Hitler wasn't there to stop that person. So then he had to go back again in time and stop himself from doing that. And it got to one point where he did something and he went into the future and couldn't go back because the technology that made him able to travel was never created.
I think the problem when you start looking
And
at
he was
like
stuck.
the things we start having in the world today, like the random occurrences and stuff, I see them as like those are factors that have to be there because there's already a predetermined thing. It's the idea of the B theory of time. Like there isn't like the past and present and the future all exist at once. Like the future, there's a Robbie an hour from now chilling, whatever the hell, if we're still podcasting.
You're talking about
And-
string theory.
Yeah, I see that, the B theory of time, the A theory of time, all that, whatever concepts of whatever past, present, future, essentialism, whatever you want to believe. There are people that don't believe the future exists. They think that's still developing and it's not happening all around us. But I like to think right now there's an alternate dimension where the War of 1812 is going on right now. You know, I like to think that there's all these multiple different scenarios that are playing all around us that we're just on a different frequency of understanding. It brings the whole concept in when people start talking about the paranormal or supernatural.
Or the mandala effect.
The mandala effect's a little bit different just because that's just stuff you remember that's been a little bit wrong.
But
But I think it's the whole
what's to say it wasn't because we had a glimpse of one of these alternate dimensions?
That's true. Now, this is what brought me into the realization about rapid eye movement when you're sleeping. I think it's a dream is an alternate dimension that you slip into. That's what I think. I started thinking real hard about this. Imagine when you dream, they call rapid eye movement. You know, when your eyelids are shut and your eyes are constantly like kind of looking around.
Yeah,
and seeing
REM
people
sleep.
in there, like, yeah. I think that's your eyes trying to find a alternate dimension to use as the concept of a dream. That's what dreams are. Dreams are our imagination on crack, basically. They're our
Or-
brain opening up that portal, and I think it's a dimension that we slip into, and that's the reason why people have hypnic
Hypnagogic
jerks?
states.
Well, no, it's hypnic jerks. Hypnagogic state's a little bit different, but hypnic jerks is that feeling you get when you're sleeping and you feel like you just fell and you like that shock. That's because your heart drops to such a scary level. Your brain's like, oh shit, we're not breathing anymore. We're not alive. And it shocks itself up. Now, I think a hypnic jerk is your body slipping back into the regular reality that you experience every single day. But when you go into a dream, you're going to an escape or a fairyland or an alternate dimension. This is where I go really far deep down because my one buddy sleeps with his freaking eyes open and it scares the shit out of me.
Well, I was reading a book last night that was actually talking about the consciousness of the mind, that human beings were wired to experience this weird shit. But some of us have gotten our wiring, or our wiring is making all the connections, which allows us to see these entities that we may be seeing or experiencing these lucid dreams that seem so real, that where we're coming out of these dreams and able to tell people this is going to happen, or hey, I know so and so over in this state right now is having an issue or whatever. It's like our wiring. It's really interesting. The book I'm reading right now is talking about our conscious versus our subconscious mind, how they work, and it's like it's mind blowing. I'll probably do a whole show on it.
See, it's like where you start diving into stuff and you're like, that could be right, that could be right. And it seems like everybody's just taking bits and pieces of the big picture. I think everybody's experiencing a little bit of something that's close by, like whether it's like these different type of folklores, like purgatory, these types of kind of extra whatever realities, other planes, alternate universes. I think like throughout history, like the people that believe like in reincarnation, the people that believe in an afterlife, the people that believe that your body is judged by spirits or all these things. I think everybody's getting a piece or a sliver of the big picture, and they're making that little sliver into their whole basis of religion, when really they got to add in all the factors, Buddhism, all this type of religious stuff, everything you want to think of the world and concept of everything is created.
Tapping
or it could
into
just
what they call Gaia.
Gaia's Mother Earth. Yeah.
Another term, yeah, Gaia is Mother Earth, but there's a terminology that actually uses Gaia as the term, being the whole conscious collective of every living entity in the world.
I think if you took every single piece of information in the world has, or what we've all experienced, and then put it into a book, it's going to be like, here's page 1, Christianity. Then page 6 is the next page over. So it goes from 1 to 6. It's like, where's 2, 3, 4, and 5? Where's the other shit? And that's just shit we haven't experienced yet or haven't discovered yet. Like it all goes into one giant book, and we're slowly getting pieces and pages that we're putting into this book. And then this book is like, it's missing. Like right now, where we're at right now, we think we got it figured out, but it's missing a shit ton of pages.
Ain't a
You
shit
just went
figured
from
out.
you went from page 1 to page 20. Don't you want to know where 19, 18, and all the other followers were? No, because 7, 8, 9. No, that's not the idea anymore. I think we're all got a little tiny puzzle piece that we're putting in, and the puzzle
And I
still
think
has
if
a hell
anybody
of a lot of
comes,
spots.
and I think if anybody ever comes out and tells you they've got it all figured out, they're full of shit.
The only person that has it figured out is Bob Lazar, because he knows where the aliens are. I want to know who has Bigfoot. For someone, God invest all their money. Elon Musk just needs to do
Hang
that.
on. I'm gonna set up for you to rant.
Let me clear my throat!
Is that Beastie Boys?
Damn straight.
Let me clear my throat. No, Bigfoot. That shit needs to be discovered. We need to figure out these little things, dude. I want to know where page 967 is. That's the Bigfoot section. We're diving into the cryptozoology.
They just made a movie about it. It's there.
I'm not talking about the Sam Elliott thing.
No,
Are you
no,
talking
no,
about the
no,
Bob
no, not that.
Goldthwait
I'm talking
movies?
about Littlefoot,
What?
the animated one. Big feets are living up on top of this mountain, and they're creating clouds that keep us from getting up there to them. You don't even know what movie I'm talking about, do you?
No, I'm just trying to think about what you just said. My brain kind of went into a breakdown. Like if there was smoke visible coming from
Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah, there's a giant problem. My brain just totally took everything of what you said and just threw it in the what?
What the fuck?
I did not realize anything you said. It's a big feet in the mountains that control the clouds, like Jack and the Beanstalk type shit.
Yeah, basically, it's an animated movie. It's actually on HBO Go right now. It's a real cute movie. We watched it, my wife and I did. Basically, Bigfoot at one point in time were down and they interacted with human beings, but human beings became violent and they started trying to go after them. So they all retreated to the top of the mountains in the Himalayas, some of the top mountains that nobody could gain access to. And they created a big machine that actually makes the cloud cover the mountain so nobody can actually see the top, and they're living their happy little life up there on the mountain. One of them decides there's got to be more. There's got to be something past the mountains. And they're like, no, there's nothing. We live on this cloud. This cloud is floating. We live on the mountain that floats on the cloud. It was their own people telling them this. So, but he ended up going down and finding humans.
Everything the light touches is ours.
Yep.
Lion King.
Yep.
Now listen to this. If you could have only one thing to find out if it was real or not, what would it be?
Me personally, it would be ghosts. Because then we would have an idea of what happens after we die.
It's a good answer.
Because our ghosts that are here by choice, because maybe they had some unfinished stuff, or not even unfinished. Maybe they just wanted to hang around because they loved they loved life, and they just want to be here to watch and experience. Or hey, you know what? I died early. My kids are going to be older soon. I want to be able to see my grandkids. Doesn't mean I have to interact with them, but makes me happy to see them. Or you know what? Hey, great. I got to see my grandkids. I got to see my kids thrive and everything. Yeah, I'm done. I'm just going on to the next realm.
That's a good answer. I like that one.
Ha ha ha.
Stumped me a little bit. I don't know what I would choose. I guess, I don't know, because I'd want to find out if Bigfoot was real, but at the same time, I don't want to truly know. Because if I truly know that he doesn't exist, don't think I'd want to be on this planet anymore.
Here's your catch. Here's your catch that you can use. We find out if ghosts are real, and we're able to talk to them. Hey, guys, is Bigfoot real?
I don't know if they would know that answer.
Well, one of them might be like, dude, I died on the Himalayan mountains. I saw one.
Dude,
He
I'm
killed
telling
me.
you, I would want to know if the government was keeping cancer cure from us.
They
That's what I
are.
want to know.
They are. I actually, one of the gentlemen that I know, I actually sat down in Mexico. I went to Cancun and got to Cancun. It was a business meeting. I did some speaking while I was down there. But one of the gentlemen I got to meet while I was there, his name was G. Edward Griffin. And he interviewed in one of, and the only way you could get these interviews is on tape. They're not on YouTube or anything like that. Do you remember the movie that Sean Connery starred in, Medicine Man?
Yeah.
It's based on a true story. He interviewed that man, sat down with him for 2 hours, taped the whole interview. Actually, sat down with him longer. The 2-hour taped interview that you get is cut back. But he talked about his experiences of going down into the Amazon and actually interacting with the Hivaro tribe. And he said during this, let me see if I can get the history on this straight. He went down there because he was looking for medicinal plants, and they were able to find them in the Amazon. Now, the movie bullshit, that was all movie. This was him actually going down there, spending time with these tribes, learning from the Hivaro Indians. The Hivaro Indians were an extremely violent bunch of headhunters. They had interaction with the Spaniards, and just to give, he told a tale of this tribe. One of the tales was when the Spaniards came to South America, and they came in contact with the Hivaro tribes. They told them, "Okay, great. We're the Spanish. We're going to take over this, and you're going to bring us your gold to pay homage to our king in Spain." Great. The Hivaro tribe was like, "Absolutely, we will do that for you. Let's have a big feast. Bring all your people together, and we will bring the gold." And this is documented true story. This is what happened. They showed up. The whole tribe showed up to the party, I guess you could say. And they said, and the guys were like, "All right, give us your gold." And they went, No. We're not going to give you the gold yet. First, everybody's going to drink. They're going to have fun, enjoy your beverages and all this stuff, your alcohol, whatever. Well, the Spaniards were like, "Ooh, we're going to get our gold. They just want us to party with them." So they started partying. The Hivaro tribesmen, though, don't drink. So they let everybody in, all the Spaniards and everybody that were in their little fort, get drunk to the point where everybody was so intoxicated, had no defense. The tribesmen took over. Boom, they captured everybody, and they took the head of the group and said, "Okay, your king wants our gold. Great. We're going to show you just how much gold we have." So they started melting down the gold. And the guy was like, "What are you doing?" And according to one of the tribal elders, he said the Spaniard head of the Spaniard army that was there was like, "What are you doing?" He said, "We're going to find out exactly how much gold it takes to satisfy a Spaniard." So they melted down the gold, and then some of the
This
tribes,
is like some terrible Tootsie Pop freaking
and they
commercial.
started pouring molten gold down the throat of these Spaniards.
Oh, Jesus.
And he died. Great. Boom. Okay, we know how much it takes to satisfy this one. Next. They killed off the entire group except for one of the lowly people, one of the lowest in rank, killed everybody off. And then they turned to him and they said, "Now you go back to your king in Spain and tell them to never show their face in our country again, or the same fate will happen to them." Several, the Spaniards, the Germans, all these different people have tried to actually take over the Hivaro tribe. Nobody's been able to do it because they are so ruthless. They use guerrilla warfare in their tactics. They hunt in the shadows. Basically, they use what's called they use the Karari darts. They'd see a group. He described how they're doing it. They'd see a group of men marching through the jungle. They'd take off the last one and do that until first guy turns around and is like, "Oh shit, where's everybody at?" And one of the German forts that was there actually sent out a group of soldiers, "Go kill them, find them, kill them." About a week later, the head of that German fort went into his office, and when he opened up his door of his office, all of the soldiers that he sent out, their heads were on his desk, already gone through the shrinking process.
Humankind has a tendency for conquering and savageness.
Yes, but
It's
nobody was
seen
able to
throughout.
conquer the Hivaro tribe. They're still the Hivaro tribe still is pretty much thriving in the Amazon jungle.
Dude, I'm telling you, one of the best people out there. Like,
Yeah. Anyways,
it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter who you are. history has savages throughout all barriers of it. Every
Well,
culture has savages. Every culture has some type of force that is more opposing than the other. But there's always something that can overcome it. Always something that can beat it. Always something that's better than that thing. It's the whole idea that you could be the best at whatever you want, but you'll never be the truly best because there's always someone better, faster, stronger. Doesn't matter in whatever you're doing.
yeah.
There's
Now let's
one
go back to
person
this
out
guy's
there,
story.
Jack Churchill. Hold on. Jack Churchill. You know who Jack Churchill is?
No, name's not ringing. Churchill part, yes.
Look up Jack Churchill on Google and images, and you will see what is known as his nickname in World War II, the Nazi-killing, sword-wielding, bagpipe-playing badass of World War II. There's pictures of him hopping off the boat onto the beach with a sword in front of everyone, and all the soldiers are like, what the fuck? Like, staring at him. He's just in front with a sword. Dude, his whole mortar team got blown up. He was the only survivor, barely alive, played bagpipes until he was captured by Nazi forces. Then he got captured, tortured for 3 years, escaped, then went to the nearest camp, walked 84 miles to one of the American camps, grabbed a sword, and immediately started hunting down everyone that tortured him. 13 people, he killed all of them with a sword.
Damn straight.
He said, fuck it. And the song he played, when the Nazis came and picked him up, was like "From or to Till I Come Home Again," and it was on the bagpipes. And it was dude, hearing that song, looking that up on bagpipes, and then thinking of him playing that while he just got hit by a mortar and still like barely like really thinking. He ended up passing out before they got to him. But dude, there's people out there that are just blood-born savages in whatever they go after. Whether you want to go after podcasting, be the biggest podcaster out there, you have a form of savagery in your DNA. Find where it needs to go. Use that as fuel for your passion and your fire. The fact that he wanted to be a freaking Nazi killing, sword wielding, bagpipe playing badass of World War II, that was his passion. Sometimes people have a human tendency to just be really good at war.
Now, back to this guy's story. He ended up hooking up with the Hivaro tribe as a medicine man, which the movie did get right. He was known as a medicine man to them because their tribal elder had a stomach ache, and he had something that would help. So he was the only white man that was let into their group as a medicine man. So he became indoctrinated with this tribe and was able to communicate with them, learn, and they were teaching him about the plants in the Amazon and stuff like that and what they could be used for. One of the things that he noticed was the solution that they would make to shrink these heads. He started thinking, I wonder if this would work on a tumor. So he talked to them about it, and they gave him some of it because it was part of their religious ceremonies that they did. So yeah, they weren't too keen on it, but eventually they did give him some of it. He went to a neighboring tribe where this woman had a tumor the size of a football in her side and started giving her the injections of this solution that they made out of natural plants. And the tumor shrunk down to the point to where it was no longer even detectable. Basically, it cured that tumor. The tumor was cancerous. So he had to go back to the tribe, and he had to gain their witch doctors' confidence, and it took him several years to do it, to where that witch doctor would teach him how to make this substance that they called their census. And that's what they used to shrink the heads. Well, he was able to do a bunch more studies and applying it to cancerous tumors and stuff like that, and it was actually working. Well, he decided he was going to come back to the United States and bring this substance with him and present his findings. He did. He was able to do it, but he had to turn over a lot of these plants to organizations so they could study them and stuff. Well, then it came time for him where he was ready to go back to the Amazon to do more research. All of a sudden, all of his funding was pulled. He couldn't go back. He had no more money. He's like, what the hell? I was fully funded to do all this. And then he got called into a meeting in New York. So he had to go to New York, and he went to a meeting. And this meeting was with, he never said who the meeting was with. All he said was the meeting was with people who represented some of the largest medical industries in the world. And he was like, why have you stopped me from growing back? I have the cure. And they went, what if you do have the cure? maybe you don't. But let's just say, what if you do have the cure? What is that going to do to our industry?
Oh, it's all about the freaking scheme of things.
Yeah, and he basically got shut down and was never able to go back to South America again.
Dude.
And this interview, if anybody's actually looking for it, you might be able to find it online. Hopefully, we know how people load stuff up. Look up G. Edward Griffin and his interview with Medicine Man. And I got to sit with G. Edward Griffin, or we call him Ed. Well, I got to sit with Ed in Cancun, Mexico for hours and just sit there and have conversations with him. One of the books he wrote is called The Creature from Jekyll Island. And it's all about the Fed and how it was created in secrecy on Jekyll Island off the coast of Georgia, New Brunswick, Georgia.
Dude, I
phenomenal researcher and great guy. He's way up there in age, but he was actually voted as one of the top 400 people in media, as far as media reporting at one point. But he's a really great guy. This interview, though, that I listened to, it just floored me and it pissed me off listening to it. But it was based on the story of Medicine Man that the Sean Connery movie was based on, actually.
If I could give you a pill that would tell you every answer to every single secret, would you take it? As I honestly feel at this point, I probably wouldn't.
I probably would.
I feel like there's just, once I find out all that information, it's like too much.
It may be too much of an overload, but you know what?
You might not want to be around anymore. You might be pro-euthanasia at that point.
Or at this point, we can look at it this way. Knowledge is power.
Yeah, but if you look at it like society, people seem to be full. They have full of too much information, and a lot of the information is bad information. So I think it's the concept of, I can give you knowledge is power, but is knowledge truly power, or is it seen as knowledge good or evil?
Yeah.
I can fill you up with a bunch of evil knowledge, and I guarantee you'll probably be depressed for the rest of your days. I think it's where a lot of people dive into rabbit holes with media and all the popular topics that are happening, like a school shooting, the first thing you brought up in the podcast. Like, if you start filling yourself with bad source information, or start filling yourself up with bad, just general knowledge of the world, yeah, that's knowledge, but it's not the best. It's not the healthiest knowledge to be consulting into.
But you're
your
being
brain.
offered a pill, and you're going to take it of your own free will, knowing that you're going to have access to all the good stuff and all the bad stuff. I think if somebody actually sat back and thought about it, the bad would outweigh the good in it.
But what happens if it doesn't? What happens if there's a hell of a lot more bad stuff, which seems to be the light of everything? Exactly. I wouldn't want to take that option. I wouldn't want to know that I could be screwed out of the deal. You know what I mean?
Life is all about taking chances.
That's true. And I think, you take that chance when you buy that sushi at the gas station and thinking you might get stomach cancer, but at the same time, it's so damn good.
And you take that chance listening to our podcast. Man, we're running up on an hour and 35 minutes now.
That's good, dude. I mean, I wish we had live people I could ask questions so we can keep it going. But
I think if we did it stream it on podcast on YouTube, it would actually, because I've got the software to actually stream live to YouTube, but you got to have a big enough following to where everybody's going to be like, oh, cool, I'm going to log in.
I just want a following of people that will go and hunt Bigfoot with me and do these awesome adventures that I plan on having.
Awesome. Well, guys, I think we need to wrap this up. I actually do have, my wife should be home here in a minute. She had to run out.
Wait a minute, you have a life? Oh, you suck. You suck. I don't like that. It doesn't go with my views.
I have a wife.
You have a wife and a life.
She's going to want some stuff done. Now I got to get the kids and everything ready for school tomorrow. School is actually starting for us August 14th, but my two younger ones have actually started band camp. So they go up there for 8 hours doing their drills and their marching drills and stuff like that. So, yeah.
It's hard being an adult, isn't it?
No, not really. I don't think I ever grew up, so adulting kind of just...
This is why I don't own a goldfish, because I don't really want to take care of something.
Well, yeah, we own goldfish, 7 dogs, 24 chickens, 3 ducks.
Do you own a goat?
No.
Then it's not important, because goats are the only thing that matter in this world.
No, I got the ducks.
Dude, my buddy lives by a goat farm. I witnessed them stack themselves on top of each other to get over a fence. I've never seen an animal that smart before. You talk about
we started having to clip the wings on our chickens because they'll fly over the fence. My duck went and grabbed one by the head and drug it to me. The whole time that chicken was going, bah! And this duck was like, get the fuck over there.
Well, man, dude, it was fun podcasting with you. We definitely hit on some weird topics, but also some kind of relevant stuff. I guess it was a pretty cool chat.
No problem. Well, anybody that needs to reach out to me, you can reach me at stalkermailbox@gmail.com or 361-433-5739. Call in, leave your story, leave me a message. Write in your story to me. I'll read it on the air. Robbie, tell them how they can get a hold of you.
You can't.
There you go.
I don't have a cell phone. I don't have anything. I don't have internet. I live in the dark. I like the cave I live in, and I'm surrounded by honey smacks, and that's anything. But if you want to find the other guy who does Out of the Blank podcast, just look up Out of the Blank. And I'm pretty sure it's the only name out there that is Out of the Blank. Literally.
Well, that does it for this show, guys, and we are out of here.
Now, here comes the music.
We want to thank you for tuning in to the Anything Goes project. If you like this show, subscribe and share it. That would greatly help us out. To contact the show, email us at stalkermailbox@gmail.com. We love hearing from our subscribers and our listeners. The Anything Goes project can be found on iTunes, Castbox, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn, and many other Android applications. And once again, thanks for listening.